fully present here. And take a few other deep breaths and imagine as you are, and actually for real, you're expanding your heart and your heart power. So we are open and receptive to divine spirit, informing us, enlightening our minds and hearts. So we open the eyes of our heart right now to hear what would help us, would support us, empower us today. What would provoke our thinking along spiritual lines to go deeper and deeper. And so we come fully present here now to your presence, Lord, giving thanks in advance for this beautiful experience today. Amen.
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 Make sure my phone
You
off.
know, can I add one thing to
Please.
what we were talking about? Just to be a conscious person, if we are in the sanctuary and we don't want to wear a mask, I think it's really important that maybe we look at the people who are around us and then ask, if they mind if we take our mask off.
If they have one on.
Yeah, if they have one on.
Yeah.
So just to
That's
be considerate.
Thank you. Okay, y'all, let us look at fear and joy. Wow, that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Me, do those two go together? Billy, Reverend Billy.
What?
Would you read that first one for us, the first quote?
Sure. Age is not all decay. It is the ripening, the swelling of the fresh life within that withers and bursts the husk.
Don't you love that picture?
Yeah, I can see the swelling.
We're all bursting the husks and revealing what are we revealing as we burst the husks? Our beauty,
Our essence, true essence.
our deliciousness,
Our wisdom,
Yes, wisdom.
passion, everything.
our wisdom, all things good. Yeah. So the question I asked then, that's right beneath that quote, is what is fresh in your life? Because the quote says, the swelling of the fresh life within.
This is Kathy. This is fresh in my life.
You mean Cleopatra? Thank you.
Well, I think as we get, for me, as I get older, I feel more comfortable in myself. And if I feel comfortable in myself, then others are going to hopefully feel comfortable around me.
Yeah, there'll be a freshness about you. Okay, great, thank you. Who else? How about the online community out there? Did you have your coffee?
This is Eileen. It's like peeling back the husk of a fresh corn that's just been picked and ready to take a big bite into that sweetness.
So are you ready to take a big bite into today?
Yes. I have to let go of the last couple hours though. I just said goodbye to my neighbors who are going to be gone till October, and I take care of their house, but they have the little dog that I give treats to every day. So there goes my little treat dog for a few minutes.
Yeah, some of us are saying goodbye to friends, right? Because they're going, back to another home. Yeah, change. What else is fresh in your lives? Yes, Betty Jo.
I was just reading the book this morning, and she says in the very beginning that age doesn't deter the feeling of the spiritual oneness and allness within us. And so in fact, it increases it. And I've noticed that too lately in my elder years too. I can feel the presence more in practice more than before.
Great. So I don't know, did you all hear Betty Jo online? No. So, I'm going to interpret. We'll see how I do. So Betty Jo was saying that as an elder and as she's had some years of experience, that she feels more, she's much more aware of the oneness she has with God, with the God within her. Did I say it right?
Yes.
And that's very refreshing, isn't it? It's very, very freeing.
Right.
Great, thank you. Carol?
What came to me was that I'm learning to just be more playful and have more fun. And I went from almost in tears to just laughing hysterically with my sister this morning on the phone in Michigan. So I just am finding ways just to, let that inner joy come out and let everything go, let it be, because it's not anything I can do anything about right now. So
Right.
I wanted to do that years ago. I didn't know how. Now I know how. It's not that hard. Let go of the crap, and then the joy comes out.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. There's something about experience
Yeah.
that is a great teacher if we let it.
Right.
Yeah, so did you all hear Carol? She was saying that what's fresh for her is being more playful and letting other stuff go. Anybody out there? To play
I
a
think
group?
for me, I've been purging a lot again.
Ah,
Don't know
again.
why, but you just kind of go with that, and you also kind of look at, okay, what's going on inside that's making me just take everything out of every closet and throw. But part of that's getting ready for going back to Minnesota. But I think for me, I start feeling stuck physically, so I have to purge. And then heading back to Minnesota, that change of environment, that change of energy, the energy is different there. And so I feel that in my body, and that helps me feel a freshness. It's like I need that. I need to travel, or I need to go someplace for periods of time so that I feel refreshed. My energy field feels refreshed. I have to feel it in my body.
Great,
So
I get that. Y'all get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, letting go of material things,
Right.
it's a cleansing, which, creates this freshness and aliveness, it sounds like, Sandy. Great. Anybody else out there on this one? How are y'all doing today?
For me, it's just the joy of waking up to another day.
And Linda tells us the truth. It's the joy of waking up to another day. I'm still here.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, here we go. Next. What? I'm trying to move it along. We can decide. So Sunday, I'm talking about life's best lessons. And I did a little survey with a few people yesterday, and I surveyed my daughter, my daughter-in-law, and my son. My son has not responded, so apparently he can't think of a best life lesson yet. But my daughter said learning to let go, what we've already heard this morning here. So what we can decide. Darlene, would you read that for us?
We can decide to smile at everyone we meet, to play with children, talk to seniors or strangers, to ask questions of youngsters, and really listen.
Yeah. We can decide to do that. What does that mean to you? The quote.
Well, I love it when I'm like over at the senior home over there, and people will say, how are you doing? And I just say, great. It's a choice. I have a choice whether I want to see things as being positive or negative.
Right. Thank you. And what else? Betty?
Am I okay? That's exactly what I was going to say. I was busy looking on my phone here for a quote. Outside my yoga studio, they always have a message. And there was one there about change, but this is also about change. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending.
That's right. Absolutely. That's right. Yeah, because everything we decide today will impact the future, right? In some way. What else? We can decide to smile at everyone we meet, to play with children, talk to seniors, ask questions of youngsters, and really listen. Yes.
I have a great time in the grocery store, standing in line, just talking to somebody, and after a while, you sort of are disappointed that your grocery thing was done. And then I think, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Oh no, I'm from a small town. But it's really pretty fun, and it's kind of interesting, and I think most people like it, and you can tell right away that they don't, if they don't.
Right.
That's okay too.
Yeah, great. So Jane was saying she talks to people in the grocery store. Did I hear it right? That's a great way to have a conversation. Anybody else on that one, Carol?
Well, I've just recently been deciding, I listened to Billy's talk a month or two ago about it's all good. And I keep saying to myself, it's all good. And so there's things I'm finding out about my body, but we're working on this, it's all good. Things are happening with my son. I know he's gonna figure it out, it's all good. And I don't go down that rabbit hole of worry. So I'm deciding it's all good. You don't know what's good, it's all good.
It's all good.
And it'll work out.
Great. Did you all hear Carol? So, yeah, what she decided was to name it good. It's all good, no matter what. No matter what it looks like on the outside.
Yeah.
Great.
That's correct.
Okay. So here's a quote that I have on my own notes. This time in our lives is learning to give new challenges a chance that make the later years a spiritual adventure and not a psychological stumbling block. So if you look at the slide based on that quote, describe your spiritual adventure.
Will you read that quote again?
I will.
Please.
This time in our lives is learning to give new challenges a chance that make the later years a spiritual adventure, not a psychological stumbling block. So I'll give you an example about learning to give new challenges a chance. And I mean, we can sometimes, not always, but sometimes choose our challenges with an intention behind it. So the example I'm going to give you is I chose the challenge because I had an intention behind it. And the intention was to live a fearless life. And what I know, one of the lessons I've learned is that and it's not just me, but I'm going to speak for myself. If I get past a fear, one fear in one area of my life. It could be any area. Let's say I start tithing, which I did, and that was a fear. If I get over a fear in one area doing one thing, it will affect every other area in my life. It will erase fears across the board. So, so I was skiing one time, snow skiing in Colorado, in Vail. And I was with a group of people, and one of the women in the group was really a great skier, and I'm not. I'm intermediate. And so she said, come on, we're gonna go ski the back bowls. And I don't know if you know what back bowls are, but a bowl in skiing is this. It's not this, it's not this, it's this. A picture of bowl, right? So we get to, that was the challenge, right? Let's go ski the back bowl. So I followed her and I broke out in a cold sweat as I came to the precipice of the bowl and looked down, and it was like a sheer drop. And she said, just follow me. So here's the key for me that she said that I have applied in a lot of moments in my life. And that is, she said, don't look any further than 10 feet ahead of you. Now, when you're skiing down a few thousand feet, 10 feet doesn't sound like much, what, does it? But I did. I refused to look beyond 10 feet in front of me. And I got down the hill without breaking anything. And what I found about that is, it was as if a cork had been taken off a bottle of energy. So for me, that was a spiritual adventure. So describe your spiritual adventure. What? None of you have had a spiritual adventure?
This is Eileen. Like you said, originally when I was starting to pay my tithing, in the back of my mind, even though I believed in tithing, I was thinking, well, what if I don't have enough? But
wait, Eileen, hold it for a second. Kathy, can we turn this louder? I don't know if we can, but I want everyone to hear, and I'm not even hearing it well right now. And you online, if you would speak up, because Kathy's going to come and see if she can turn this up for us, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it'll. Thanks, Kathy. Oh, look what she's got. The sack of potatoes, you know, the appendage on her side. Hello. Okay, say something, Eileen.
so what I was going to say is, initially I was a little bit nervous about, paying my full 10% and whatever, because I thought, well, I give to other people and stuff too. But you had said, well, that doesn't count toward your tithing. Your tithing is only your 10% of whatever you receive. And so once I started paying my tithing, it's like money just comes in right and left, and I never know where it's coming from. It's not something I'm expecting. Like this morning, I got my Social Security, and so I paid my tithing on that, and I immediately got that same amount back from my neighbors in a card this morning in cash when they left. And
wow.
So it's like almost immediate. If you live the spiritual teachings, they are definitely true, and they will reward you.
And that is a spiritual adventure. Yeah. Who else? Okay, if no adventure comes to you, let's go to the second question. What is your mindset around challenges? I'm getting a little concerned.
They're all good.
I love them. Yeah. I do. I really love them. And I just, when something's challenging me, like it's not working, I just keep working at it. It's like I slow down, take a breath and work at it. My dad was one who just kept at things, and he would, untangle the tiniest of necklaces for my mom. And he just, he'd fix tiny little things, or he would persevere. And I remember once he had passed, but I have many conversations with him since he's passed. And we decided we didn't want this pond in our backyard that we had made. And so I drained the pond, and I was trying to get this gigantic liner out of the pond, and I kept pulling and pulling, and I was just about ready to give up, and I was just about in tears, and I was sitting down, and I was filled with mud and hanging on to this huge piece of plastic. And I just thought, what can I do? And I hear my dad saying, Sandy Lee, get a scissors. And I thought, wow, I have not thought of that myself. But it was definitely my dad. Every time I hear Sandy Lee, I go, oh, there he is again. And he said, get a scissors. And I cut it in little squares and took it out. But I had been working on it for hours. I mean, I was in that backyard for hours working on it. So I love challenges. I'll just keep at it until I find a solution. And sometimes that's not the best thing, but it's not efficient, but it's who I am. So I kind of just keep doing it.
So let me ask you this, what do you notice, or what have you noticed, is the outcome of you taking on challenges?
They get easier. I mean, I don't know if things have to be pretty difficult for my brain to say it's a challenge. Most things I just go, okay, well, just settle down, take a breath, and let's see what we can do, But it very rarely do I see things as huge challenges. Like people were saying, wearing a mask and doing all this, to staying home during COVID it's a challenge. And I'm like, yeah, not for me, but not so hard. In fact, I forget I have my mask on most of the time, but so I find that, challenges I don't know. Maybe I'm just blessed and I don't have a lot of challenges. I don't know, but I don't see them as challenges. I just see them as all road bumps, and something to figure out, like a fun little puzzle. It's a puzzle and it's fun,
Thank you. So can you all see that is a mindset? Okay. Betty, sorry.
Yes, that's kind of what I was just going to say. It's all how you look at these things and your patience level and so forth. Because, now this might be a little bit different, but I was typing up some notices about a meeting that was going to be held. This was organization that I belong to, and I had already to print it out. And I pressed print and it wouldn't print. So I went back and did the usual things and looked and see whatever, wouldn't print. And through all this, I knew I would persist until I got this thing working. And I looked at it and read it again, and I had put in the wrong date for that meeting. I fixed the date, I pressed print, and it went. So I think just like your dad talking to you, we're sometimes guided, and we shouldn't get angry about that. We should listen.
Right, great, thank you. Anybody else about either of those? What is your mindset on? What do you notice? I mean, as you and I reflect on challenges, and we could use other words other than challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. I like the word challenge. What, as you reflect, have you noticed is your mindset around challenges? So do we go toward it or do we avoid it?
Oh, toward it.
Do I try to keep my life safe or is my life open?
I think the biggest challenge I have with challenges is when I get unbalanced, when I have so much going on that it's almost like I'm overthinking different things that have to be done.
Yeah.
So I have to be real careful of that because I have a tendency to do that.
To overthink it?
Well, to overthink or overdo, and then I kind of just get overwhelmed. So it's,
So what kind of a mindset is that would have you overdo?
the mindset is that I want to be responsible and I want to do things that need to be done. But sometimes I can get myself into a little pickle of doing too much.
Jane?
I'm just the opposite of that. I'm just kind of like, my sister says, yes, I know you're a piecemeal worker. I break things down into pieces, also trying to figure it out. I like the planning stage.
Mm-hmm.
And when I often say I don't have a big enough staff, in other words, I'm not doing it now. But then when I get to do it, and I've learned I do it in the morning, or I don't have to do it. I don't have to do anything anymore, except basically, physical hygiene and, maybe eat sometimes or whatever. So that's really a blessing to me because I lived in independent living for 5 years, and all of a sudden into my life is this challenge that became a housemate who was the brother of somebody in the home who I didn't even really know. And we're housemates and that, and for a long time I thought, what do I do if he dies in his sleep? And I had myself in a circle about that because I know there's ways to do things, and why don't you donate your body to the science chair because they'll take care of everything, and maybe he'll live 10 more years, I don't know, but I'm past that stage now, and he has a power of attorney sister, so that helps. But it took me like 5 different times to just paint the stuff in this little closet because I would only do it for a little while, then I quit. And then I enjoy it, and it's okay, but my sister's absolutely the other way. And that's not good for her, I think. So, but now in this stage in life, we can afford to behave that way. I mean, I was a single parent, I had a job, I owned a duplex. I don't like living like that.
So you're saying with age comes some kind of ease about
Yes,
certain things?
definitely.
Yeah. A mindset of, it's all small stuff.
Right.
Carol?
I think my mindset, I'm just trying to put a word to it, is about acceptance. And if something isn't working, I put it aside for a while. I can't solve that problem if I get frustrated or in the, frantic. I've actually looked for something and I know that it's there, but I have to go away for a little while, come back, and then it's right there, I can find it. And the same with, I had the same thing happen with the lady on Zoom. I go to send something and then I read it again. I say, oh God, I'm glad I didn't send that. So, and I think it's giving up control too, that I know that what I'm supposed to do, I'll get the message, maybe not the first time, but I'll eventually get the message. And if it's mine to do, I'll get help to do it. So I don't worry about it.
I love
So
it.
it's acceptance, I think maybe describes that mindset.
Yeah. Do you think it's our years that help us?
Oh, yeah,
accept-
I wasn't that way at all in my younger years. I was driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? Anybody? Thank you. Anybody else?
I had a challenge yesterday using my computer when all of a sudden the screen was filled with big print that there were no icons, they were all missing. And I did not know what to do. I tried all the things I thought I could do, but nothing worked. And I thought to myself, wow, this is going to be some challenge to find out who can help me. So I was able to think about the people that could. And so I live at Royal Oaks, and we have a big hub that is for computer people. And I thought, what if I just went down there? Maybe there's someone walking around that I could ask a question. And lo and behold, the one person that I wanted to help me was there. And I thought, wow, oh my God, this was God-given.
Wow, for sure, huh? Yeah, did you all hear Linda? Technology challenge.
Technology challenge.
Yeah, okay, all right, should we go on, ready? Here we go. Let me look at my notes again. Oh, okay, so here's a quote. The major task of life in this period may simply be not to fear the fear. What do you think about that? The major task, this is a quote from the book, the major task of life in this period may simply be not to fear the fear.
Are they assuming that fear is death, or is that what we're fearing, or?
I don't know. I don't know. What do you get when you think of fear?
Having a stroke.
Having a stroke, okay.
Heart attack's okay.
Heart attack is okay, stroke no. Our values change, don't they? The major task of life in this period is simply not to fear the fear. So if you go biblical, we can find a lot of references in scripture about fear. How often did Jesus say, do not fear, little flock? Or don't be afraid. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, to give you the right idea, a divine idea, a solution, a way out, a way in. I think it's Timothy, you can help me out on this, Billy, but God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but of power and courage. Yeah. So when I think of fear, I think, that's a stopper. I mean, some fears may be useful, but I don't even know if fear is the word I would use at this stage. I would use discernment. I need a capacity for right discernment to not make foolish mistakes or wrong mistakes.
Question.
Betty Jo, please.
Yeah, I think that do not be afraid is mentioned 365 times in the Bible, one for each day.
Once each day, I love it. I love it.
Interesting. So that's reassuring.
It is reassuring. So Betty Jo was saying, in the Bible, do not be afraid is mentioned 365 times, one for each day of the year. Great. Who else around? Forget that question for a minute. That's up here on the screen.
I think there's a difference in fear, like when you're at Grand with the railroad tracks and somebody pulls in behind you and you can't back up, and the train's coming and the bar wants to come out. There's a fear there, and that's a fear that might cause you to take healthy action.
Right.
But fear to proceed forward in a plan or an idea or something is probably not. I was thinking, and it kind of connected with the earlier thing, my feelings about belonging to the health group, the healing group that we're in.
The what group?
Healing.
The healing group, yeah.
What am I going to call it?
It's healing.
Yeah. I was very hesitant because I had taken my modality 30 years ago and not used it. And I didn't know if I could. And I didn't, fear.
Yeah.
And I looked at it as a challenge for fun.
Great. So you transformed the fear to an opportunity.
I called my friend that I took Reiki with and I told her, I said, I think I'm going to do this because I think I need to use what I learned.
Yeah.
Great. But sometimes I have these brilliant, wonderful spiritual things, and other times it's missing. Absolutely missing. Last night, yesterday, somebody kind of brought it to my attention that I'm flying away in about 5 days. And I started thinking, where's the suitcase? Where, you know, all these things. But the big thing is, where is your vaccination card? And I was telling Betty, I was up until about 12:30 last night because it was no place, and I couldn't give it up. I could not. My son said, "Go to bed, Mom. Just go to bed, and it'll show up in the morning." And I couldn't do it. I couldn't let go of it. And I did eventually find it, and I things that I know, to let go and let God. You know that it will show up. It's okay. It will. But I think my mind was getting off on the fear, on that broken fear. Like, David, can I get on the plane without it?
Right.
Those kinds of things.
Look at your body language.
Yeah.
I don't know if you online could see the body language, but it clinched. You clinched, which is what fear does, right? When we're afraid, when
Makes us
fear is,
freeze.
the energy of it is there, it clinches everything within us.
And thinking straight is gone.
Yeah, right. Great. Thank you, Karen.
Put it on your phone.
Anyone else? Yeah, she's getting some advice about put the vaccination card on the phone. Take a picture. Yeah.
Go to class, you'll get the answer.
I love that. Come to class and get the answer. Yeah.
All those people that aren't here don't know now.
Great, great. So, anybody out there, Betty?
I guess I'm responding to the what do you consider a major task at this time? I might have mentioned a while in another class that when my husband died, I had to find a place to live right away because of financial problems. And I found this lovely home here in Sun City West, just perfect for me. And I've been so happy here for 11 years. And when I went to speak with my property manager a couple of weeks ago, she informed me that she got a letter that she was no longer going to be my manager and that the owner of the home said that reassure Mrs. Ryan that we will honor her lease as of up until October of 2021. So I haven't heard directly from them. Does that mean they are going to sell the house? Because the way the market is these days, they might be in a hurry to just get their money out of it and not be, not rent anymore or whatever. So to make a long story short, I mentioned this one Sunday after service to Eileen and the other ladies at the table, and we put our energy towards it. And so the task now is, am I going to have to find a new home, or am I going to be able to stay where I am, or whatever? And for the first day or so, of course, it was very concerning. And then I do what I try to always do, turn it over to talking with God about it. And God said, I found you that beautiful place the first time. Do you think I'm going to do any less if you need to have another one? So just cool it. And so I did write a letter to the woman and told her I was going to be 85 this summer. And I was hoping to stay here for the rest of my life until I decide to move back with my kids. And I would hope that she could extend the lease just for a couple more years. So we'll see what she says.
Great.
But you can all add your positive energy to that. Thank you.
Yeah, amen. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Let's take a look, let's turn to this question here on the slide. What do you consider a major task at this time in your life? There are tasks at each stage in life, are there not? What's the task at this stage?
For me, it's appreciating all that I have and all that I can do every day.
Great. Great. So
Feeling
Linda,
gratitude.
what do you say, Linda?
Feeling gratitude.
Feeling, so Linda was saying feeling gratitude is a major effort on this part, major attention. What else?
Staying positive about body changes.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen said staying positive about body changes. Who else?
Hi, it's Maya.
Maya?
For me, the task is starting this new chapter as a single woman again and a caregiver to an elder. It's all new territory. So it's a major task to start a new chapter in life. And for me, it's very important that I be authentic about who I am and what works for me, what resonates with me, what brings me positive feelings and upliftment, and what things shut me down. And there's a lot of fears that have come up in this last year and a half for me. And I feel like we can't expect one size fits all, that we can all just change our mindset and become very highly positive people at all times. I think I really resonate with allowing the fear, because if I try to push it away, I become more tense than just feeling it and saying, okay, I'm alive, and this is what it's all about, to have the ups and downs, and what can I learn from this, and what tools do I have to face it? Like, for instance, that idea of having a stroke. That was really scary for me. My first year alone, moving to a new place. I don't have my friends. My mother can't help me. She's not able. And I would have these kind of feelings in my heart, like maybe I'm having a heart attack or something at night. And I had to feel those feelings and then decide, okay, what can I do about this? Well, I can have my cell phone right handy. And so and my glasses, all the things that I remember having to do with my husband, I can do those things for myself. And if I just happen to die in my sleep, then I'm okay with that too, because we all have to go. So that's my major task, is to have my new chapter and find the places that I fit authentically, where I can contribute to my community in an authentic way. And all of that is changing, because now I'm older and I'm alone. So thanks for listening. Yeah, it's kind of long-winded, sorry.
No, it was good. I heard a few major tasks in there, right, in your life as it is today. Adjusting to life without a husband, adjusting to life and being a caregiver, the task of not running from fear, but rather to, someone in this class said a couple of weeks ago, right, Diane? Didn't she say, she heard someone say, hug your fear? And you said, learn from it, look at it, feel it, and learn from it. So great, thank you. Anybody else on this one? What do you consider a major task at this time in your life? Yes, Yoli. Unmute, Yoli, unmute. There you go.
Okay, well, I have a very hunger for everything, and I want to do everything and all. And sometimes, as I'm having fun and everything, I go into dealing with boredom, even though I've done so much. And so, my major task is to slow down and see why I'm bored, because I'm busy and I'm doing tons of stuff, but yet I'll sit and I'll think, this is boring. And so that is a big task for me. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm busy and I love every moment of it. And I'm running around all the time and I'm having a ball. And yet I have a little piece of me that says, I'm bored. I don't understand that. That's a task for me to understand.
Yeah. And so, so y'all heard her, right? One of her major tasks is to, well, what is the major task? I mean, you said, I'm bored, you know, you're busy doing this and that, and this and that. And then you have this thought that comes, gee, I'm bored. What do you do with that thought, Yoli?
Well, I talk to myself and say, maybe you need to understand, because no matter how involved I am, I have a pullback. And so I try to understand what's pulling me back and why I'm not totally engaged. And so it is a major task for me, because I would like I would like to understand that, you know. I used to rush through things, and then I started talking to myself and say, enjoy the moment. So I do, and I do. But then I get to a certain point and, okay, I'm done enjoying. I'm moving on. I don't understand that part about me. So that's a task for me, because I'm always doing something.
I know you. Thank you. Thank you. Jody.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Jody.
My major task at this time is watching my inner dialogue about aging. I want to be real careful, because I'm next week, Carol gets knee surgery, knee replacement, and I'm going to be a caregiver again after the hip replacement that was 2 months ago. So I'm doing more caregiving right now, which will have a wonderful, if you keep your eyes on the horizon, that has a wonderful ending where I won't be a caregiver as much. But right now, I've never been a caregiver at 75. And so I'm really paying attention to my self-talk to support myself in the task at hand, which is being a caregiver. It's a big house, and you know, there's a lot of things to do besides just the caregiving. Then there's the tending of the house, and there's going to the grocery store and all of those things. But I think I'm up to it. Matter of fact, I know I'm up to it, and it's going to be this big adventure. So, you know, I tell myself, I give myself a lot of support, but that's the only real big task that I can think of right now.
Great. And well, then it's a big one. It's a big change. Total shift. A 180 in one's life.
Yes.
And I was talking to a colleague yesterday about some issues in her life, and I reassured her something that I have come to believe through my own experience, and that is, and it's biblical, what God brings us to, God takes us through. So to know that whatever we meet in life, whatever comes onto the shore, we are equipped for. That spirit in us will equip us for.
I love living that way. I do live spiritually. It's a spiritual journey. And I'm getting better at it. And I'm enjoying it. So I'm careful with words, you know, major tasks. I might say what might be a task with dropping the major, you know, little things to watch those words that can frighten us, where the fear comes in. So my knees are going to be just fine, and my hands that are doing dishes more are going to be fine. And if not, there'll be a spiritual answer to my tasks.
Yes. So you know what just came to my mind? I want to share it. Hopefully it will be helpful. It's helped me. And that is, and Viktor Frankl and many others have said this, and that is, when we have a why for our lives, the how comes to us. We can let go of the how. The way I frame it is, if I'm clear about why I'm here and what my life intentions are, like even at this stage in our life, what is my life intention? It's not about raising healthy, competent kids anymore. My life intentions at any given moment frame or create a pathway for all of my creative energy. And so for me, there are intentions in life, like I intend to be a good friend, or I could even intend to be a successful author, which I do. That's what I want. So if that's my intention, then what am I going to do about it? And then the tasks become the minor thing. Prepare breakfast, help someone out of bed into the bathroom, things like that. When you're clear about your life intention, the tasks, I think, become a little easier.
The
Okay,
thing
I'm
that
moving on. Anything else anyone wants to share? Howard, I haven't heard from you today. What's your wisdom for us, Howard?
Well, I guess what's the major task at this time in life? Sometimes life just comes on. The older I get, the slower I become. And then all of a sudden things hit, and it's just happening too fast. And you've just got to, as you mentioned, you've just got to step back and only look 10 feet ahead, or only focus on that tree that you got to get around now. Ignore the forest, because it's all out there. You just got to, you call it a problem or a challenge. I see it as life, really. Life is one of these situations after the other that we have to sort through. And to me right now at the stage, it's coming a little fast, and I've got to just work hard to keep up with it. I believe in the let go of God, but I also believe that God gave us a brain and a capability, and He gave us the self-determination. So we play a part in this. I'd love to step back and say, "You take care of it, God," but I think He expects me to do something too. So maybe together we'll get there. Anyway, my motto today is, I can't change yesterday. There might not be a tomorrow, so enjoy the hell out of today. So,
I love it. Yeah.
Ladies, I enjoy you. Thank you.
this is
Susie.
Susie had to go and pick up granddaughter.
Okay. Pick up who? Somebody.
My granddaughter. She's at school. We got to pick her up at school.
That's another thing that grandparents get to do sometimes.
Yeah, another part of life.
How about this question right here? How is your life abounding with pleasure right now?
This is Eileen. Before we go on, I wanted to just say that sometimes when we have challenges, we have to remember that we can ask for help. And that's from God, or from someone else that we know can help us. So if I can't do the task myself, who else can help me with this to accomplish this? Because we're not alone. We always have God with us and friends. And like with Jody, she knows that she can call me if she needs help. So we need to be there for each other, but remember that we have each other.
Beautiful, so important, right? So important for us at all times in our lives, not just now, but to remember that, I think I said this last week, a man I used to work for way back when I was in my early 30s, said to me, you know, the best way to make a friend is to ask them to help you with something. So I'm looking at my, well, I have some interesting questions on my notes. Let's see what you think about this stuff. How is your life abounding with pleasure right now? I mean, maybe I better not assume that your lives are abounding with pleasure.
I feel very peaceful right now. I had a section that was kind of a bump in the road. But I feel like, gosh, I feel like the last couple of weeks I've had a heaven on earth day every day.
Oh, how great, how great. Okay, thank you. Who else? Karen?
I have really, really experienced, I suppose, bliss.
Bliss?
About, last week I said about the celebration of art that we were going to get rid of. I was kind of reluctant at first to get involved in it. And all the art there is different than mine and, you know, whatever. It was amazing.
Really?
It was absolutely amazing. And the comments that came my way made me want to get busy.
With your art? Yeah.
I have never had that experience before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You mean that kind of support?
Yeah.
And encouragement?
Yeah.
Great.
People
Karen,
didn't
say
know
what
me.
kind of an artist, what art you do. Tell us what art you do.
Well, for one thing, I'm a wood sculptor. And I don't say wood carver, because I think there's a big difference. I don't carve wood, it's not to put it down. But I carve figures in hardwood that, and I love to polish the hardwood by hand. I do Arabian horses are my great favorite. And then I do clay sculpture, and I was blessed to be able to get them bronze, which is a difficult, expensive process. And synchronicity coming from the source, let it happen.
To get them bronze, to get your work bronze.
It's very difficult to do.
I can only imagine. Yeah, so Karen was abounding with pleasure with the encouragement for an art that you're passionate about. Well, we all need encouragement, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Any other comments about the pleasure in life? What's pleasurable these days for you?
I'll just add, I think it's just making new friendships and new connections.
Great, making new friendships and connections. Yeah. You know, it's the simple things. I got a picture, I have a great grandson. His name is Charlie. And he's got huge blue eyes and platinum blonde hair. And he's gonna be a year old in June. And so I'm always bugging my grandson, send me pictures of Charlie. So my daughter was there visiting and sent me a picture of Charlie that I laughed my head off about. So picture this, you've got a, maybe you can recall times in your own life. Just so this, 10-month-old is sitting at a table, a family celebration, And probably his mother, I didn't see it in the video, but his mother gives him a bite of food. He opens his mouth, the spoon goes in, and he's smiling and he's all happy, and his little hands are on the table, and he spots a piece of paper, probably from birthday wrapping. And he takes the piece of paper and with great force throws it on the ground. And I laughed my head off. I thought, isn't that a 10-month-old for you? So, I mean, that's all to say how possible it is to find extraordinary pleasure in such little things. Such little things. And perhaps at this time in our life, we have more wisdom and awareness and spiritual growth to be able to appreciate them.
I think nothing tickles me as much as a baby's laugh.
Isn't that true? Oh my God, such pleasure in that. Okay, what I've got on my notes here is Chittister says this: our spiritual obligation is to age well so that others who meet us may have the courage and the spiritual depth to do the same.
I think that's good.
What do you think about that? Our spiritual obligation is to age well so that others who meet us may have the courage and the spiritual depth to do the same.
I'd like to respond to that.
Please.
I have the perfect example right here at my house of aging well, because how many people do you know that are as sharp and active and engaged in their life as Judy, having just turned 90?
Judy just turned 90.
Amazing.
Hey, Judy. And Judy is still doing art. So say more about how she inspires you, Eileen.
Well, you know, when I first met her and I introduced her to my family, my dad said, "What are you doing with that old lady?" But what he didn't understand is that there was a spiritual connection with Judy from the very beginning that I cannot even hardly explain, except that I knew that she was the right person for me to be with, because she is so allowing and she is so gentle and kind, and she just knows how to be in the moment and be in joy with what she's doing right now. And I didn't know how to do that, and I didn't know very well how to be alone, and because I had 6 siblings, and so at first I was really reluctant to move away and to spend time with myself and everything. But over the years I've just seen how easily she goes through her day, and is such a great example of showing her joy and her inner peace. It's so hard to explain because she's such a quiet individual. You have to, kind of reach and bring that out to find out what's really going on in there. But once you do, then it's just amazing to find out all these thoughts are going on in her head, because she's not sharing them out loud very often.
But she's always smiling. You're always smiling. So anybody else on? Yeah, Betty?
Yeah, before we leave this topic, I would like to recognize another wise and wonderful elder who rides in the car with me on Sundays, and she can accept the recognition right now because it's Betty Jo who's sitting with you. And you turned how much this year, Betty Jo?
91.
Woo! 91.
So we see that growing older is achievable in a fine fashion. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, thanks, Betty. What do you have to say, Betty Jo?
Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. But I've noticed lately too that I have more of awareness of listening to other people saying, this growing old is a hard job. It's not easy growing old. And I've become aware that I need to think about that in a different way. You know, not take it in and agree with them and when you're in conversation with others.
Yeah.
So to have that awareness all the time is very helpful.
I think you're.
Say, I see it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful what we agree with.
Yeah.
Because when we agree with it, we're connecting our creative energy to it.
Right.
And it produces babies. Like itself. Anybody else on our spiritual obligation is to age well? All right then. And she also spoke about our responsibility being to age well. But what about this one? What is your responsibility to God, self, and others at this stage?
Well, I know my responsibility is to be the best person I can be, to live out of love. You know, I have a little bit harder time still with the self because I feel a big responsibility towards Forrest. And that was a responsibility I chose to take on. It wasn't something that was, you know,
Dumped on you.
dumped on me.
Yeah.
So,
So, so are you saying you're still learning to take good care of you?
Yes, I'm learning to take care of me. But I still feel like I do put myself in second place.
You've got to stop that.
I know, but you know,
Look at Karen's eyes.
I know it's a defense against progress.
I guess I feel that way too, because we are here, just the two of us. And, you know, there's nobody else to really be responsible for him. So I take on more.
You know what they say in airplanes, right? What do they say about the oxygen mask?
Right. I understand that.
You do?
Yes, I do understand that.
Okay. Good.
And I do that, but you know, I kind of feel like I know I'm capable of doing it for myself.
But he's not, right?
Or he may not be.
Yeah.
You know.
So Betty Jo was talking about so was Jody talking about watching the self-talk, right? And watching, because there's always, I mean, if we get our observer self out, and we all have observer selves, we can observe our thinking. And our observer self, and that's how Betty Jo can say, I'm aware of my thoughts and what I tell myself, and how you can say that too. And so to be so aware and reframe it. If it's not helpful. If it's helpful, don't reframe it, right? If the conversation going on in here is helpful, no need to reframe it. But if it's life diminishing, I say, and I hope it doesn't, I'm gonna say it. It's my responsibility to channel my creative energy in ways in which, and my creative energy, and all of ours, is infinite. I am never out of creative energy. Do you know why? Why? Why would you and I never be out of creative energy? no matter what it feels like in the moment.
Because we're spirit.
Because what?
We're spirit.
Because we're spirit, because the Spirit of God is our DNA,
Literally.
literally. And one of the challenges of being a human being is that we live in a polarized world. And so while the Spirit of God is in me as infinite creative energy, my thoughts have the freedom to go someplace else and not feed that, but feed something else. And so for me, my responsibility to the God in me is to honor that by what I think and what I say and what I do.
And to honor that of the other person also.
Yes. And how would that look, Betty, Jill?
Well, I would think that you know that you're capable because you express the wholeness of God, and you would know that the same would apply to your friend also, that he is the wholeness also.
And what would be the outcome of that?
Well, that would be, I think, peace of mind.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're both aligned with the spirit of your true self.
Sharon, Sharon, this is Jody.
Jody, I'll come back to you, Judy. Jody.
I'd like to address this question because this is a very deep question. A lot of people do not contemplate this stage in life. They're just kind of angry about it or disappointed or fighting it most of the time, or to think about, do I have a responsibility to God? Do I have a responsibility to myself? And then others. I mean, this is I hope you all realize it blows my mind a little bit, the depth of these questions that we're asking ourselves, because I come from a hospice background. I retired from hospice care, and I have been with a lot of people as they were dying. When they're aging, they're facing what's happening to them, and they're dying. And the nurses and social workers will tell you that people tend to die the way they live. So I'm thinking about that while I'm listening to all of you. And I believe that it is true that those of us here sharing these deep thoughts together, is there a responsibility to these things at this time? These are beautiful thoughts. And I just want to applaud us because I think that we're on a nice path where we're going to, as we age, we're going to be dying as we lived, which is seeking, being open, loving, sharing, serving, all of these beautiful things. But I cherish this moment in this group because I know that I have seen people struggle with dying, struggle with facing the fear of it and all these things. But I am grateful for this question, and I do have a responsibility, and I'm up for it. I'm gonna do it.
Are up for it.
Pretty grateful. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Anybody else on this question?
Judy.
Oh, who else? There was Judy. Judy online wanted to say something.
Yeah,
Loud.
that was great, Jody. I wanted to add that I think as you get as old as I am anyway, that you have a responsibility for yourself in that, in my case, my mind does not always integrate with what my body can do. And so it's my responsibility and with others around me to make sure that I am taking care of myself and that and I'm being careful. And a lot of that has to do with, as I say, as Eileen says, that I'm a quiet kind of a person, but a lot of that is contemplating what I can do and what I can't do, and to get comfortable with all of that. And it's like Jody says, it's very enlightening to listen to everybody's responses to this particular program. Sharon, this is great.
Thanks, Judy. You're great.
Woo, we're getting spiritual here. I said, woo, we're getting spiritual here.
Someone in here was gonna say something, right? Yeah, Billy.
You know, I think my responsibility to all that is to live and speak my truth. And I had the wonderful opportunity last week to counsel a 95-year-old lady who is going from independent living to assisted living, not because of anything physical, but because of some mental things that is going on. And she told me that she wanted to die because she'd had a good life up to this point, and then making this move was just beyond her, to do this. And I said, okay, you said you had a good life up to this point. So you think from this point on, you're not? That God is just going to say, oh, she's moving, she's 95, heck with it, I'm going to dump her now. And I got her to laughing. And then it reminded me sometimes of how I resist change, and it's like, everything's good. So the next thing is going to be good too, no matter what it looks like. But I had her laughing when we hung up, and I understand from her daughter that she's somewhat embracing the move now. So, okay. So all I did was speak my truth. I mean, that's how I feel. So I think at any given moment, if that's what we can do, that's it. That's our responsibility.
Well, and I would say, Billy, that your truth, you speaking your truth, is a capital T truth. You know what I mean? Because that's spiritual principle.
Right. The truth.
The truth.
The truth, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, this is very rich, isn't it?
I just would simply, summarize all of it. It's just living your life wholly and complete till the last breath. Just, continue to live. And put one step in front of the other, not just the next right thing. Don't go beyond that.
Life is such a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift. Every breath is a gift. I have that on my dashboard in my car. The guy at the Unity Bookstore, like every breath is a gift.
Oh, I like
every
that.
time I get in my car, I notice it, and it just reminds me that's the truth.
What a great reminder. I mean, I find, check yourself to see if this is so. I find, it's still important to me to keep myself inspired. I don't even think I want to stay inspired because it's such good energy to be inspired. And because it's easy for me to go down another road. I could get judgmental real quick. So I need to stay inspired, and reading and things like Every Breath is a Gift, reminding ourselves of acceptance, reminding ourselves of speaking the truth, speaking to ourselves, right? Speaking truth to ourselves as well as others.
Soul food.
Soul food? Is that
Soul
what you said?
food.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I want to do any more. I'm kind of thinking like, we've had enough dessert. Well, I've got some other good questions.
We'll have to come back. I won't be there next week.
Well,
I'll think of you all in Idaho.
What I tell myself and other people is I feel 47 if my knee doesn't hurt, and I can certainly fix all my knees. See, I feel 47 if my knee doesn't hurt, because I can't believe I'm this number age. And like, I lived in Sharon Wednesday for 5 years because I moved there when I was 740. It's stress out of my life because I was running a condo association with some strange people that moved in. And so I just went there and, well, because it was going to take care of me. Well, I learned a lot there, but I used to say, oh my, look at all this is all that can happen to you. But the other part was, look at the 92-year-old lady who's walking really fast down the hallway. That's who I'm going to be.
Yeah.
You know, and then I started reading.
I see some brilliant minds.
And yeah, and I take after my father's side of the family, 101, my aunt just died, and my father, 67. And I thought, I'm not going to live here till I'm 92. So what if I buy a house? And now I like that part of, let's see how we can fix this, or, you know, and so that's making me really happy and focused. If my social entertainment is the guy to bring a new stove and we have a conversation. You know, I heard, you know, so it's working okay. Good. If it works, don't fix it. Yeah. Season it with laughter. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you believe your existence is all about? I think we've kind of touched on that quite a bit, right? Live while you're living. What have you done in the last year that is especially joyful? Well, I mean, I think a better question might be, what have you done in the last week? Or the last 24 hours that has been joyful? And what joyful experiences are you planning?
I have an answer to what have I done in the last year. Actually, it's in the last several weeks. I think the most joyful thing I did during this pandemic was Easter service at Unity. It was just beautiful with the flowers and the music and the message. That really revitalized me for the next season. So thank you.
Oh, great. Thanks, Betty. Thanks. Anybody else?
I think the most enjoyable thing that I've done too is just come to church every week and
I love that.
enjoy the message and enjoy all these lovely people that I've met there.
Yeah. We do have great folks here, don't we? Do. Love my congregation, love my community. Yeah. So what joyful thing have you got planned? Really?
Well, Ralph and I love to entertain. And so Saturday night, we had 2 couples over for dinner that we hadn't seen in over a year, you know, so that was just so fun. And we're planning more of those because we realize that having smaller groups is more fun because you can talk to everybody, you know, so we're doing 2 couples at a time. And we're just looking forward to it now that we can do that.
Now that we can do it, yeah. So it's bringing people together, right? Yeah. Anybody else on a joyful experience, Betty Jo?
Yeah, my daughter took me swimming yesterday. It's all right. They've opened it up to visitors now, and that was very enjoyable. And then getting together with 3 different card groups. We're playing cards with our neighbors and another group, and so that's fun. Planning lunches out now. Socializing a lot now.
Socializing, yeah. Remember that story I told about my friend Helen, who's in assisted living now? When I asked her, I can't remember what question I posed a couple Sundays ago, but what's most important to her is socialization. And I think probably as a result of this last year, we're all aware of the importance of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It really brought it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Carol?
I think, you know, what you had said, wonder and inspiration and, you know, just excitement. We finally traveled and we spent 4 nights at the Grand Canyon in a little camper. And we saw elk and we saw beautiful sunrises and canyon. Every day was different. One day it was snowing. It was so beautiful. It just was so nice. Either way, we love to travel. We hadn't done it in a year and a half.
Yeah. Wow. To be in beauty and
we just, it was just like, you know, unexpected when you're traveling. You don't know what you're going to see or do. And then also the wonderful people we met. This wonderful little restaurant in Williams. that people were lovely. We even bought a painting that was perfect. That who would you think you'd find this picture of a moose, and we love moose, in this little restaurant? And as soon as we saw it, we said, "Is that for sale?" We want that. We didn't want to take a chance of anybody else buying that. Before we ordered a lunch, we bought the picture.
Oh,
That was fun. Perfect.
How fun. Great. Okay,
Well,
well,
I'm really having a lot of fun right now because I'm helping Forrest write his life story from the very beginning, and so that we can eventually give it to his children.
what a great legacy to leave. What a, what a great legacy to leave. We're gonna close with prayer right now. So take a deep breath. Thank you, God, for the joy of this time together, the awarenesses. Thank you for guiding and leading all of us throughout this day into a beautiful day, a blessed day in every way. We plant this thought now in the allness of your presence everywhere and know that it is unfolding right now as we speak in perfect, divine, joyful order. Amen.
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 Okay, thank you.
Adios. Adios. Bye.
Sharon.